Good evening, folks. It's Sunday evening, and we're going to have another episode of the weekly catch-up show here down and out in Torrevieja with Delta Mike. First, it's not coffee. This time, it's wine. Grab a glass and join me while we summarise the week's events. Okay, folks, where to begin? I guess we begin with, let's start with last Sunday. I recorded the weekly catch-up video from in bed with my new light, so you might not have seen the beard trim unless you caught that specific video. So yeah, there's that. I also last Sunday I started it'll be a long-running project, but to tidy up the camp and to be a slightly better neighbour to my to los vecinos, to the neighbours around here. I did the classic man thing and started with the big things, the big sheets of plastic and heavy bits of wood and bits of metal and things that were lying around. I probably should have started with the more cluttered, messier, smaller items. So I'll have a relaunch of that tomorrow. But that's what I did last Sunday, and that continued into the Monday. Monday was a quiet day in camp. Quiet as in nothing to report, no videos to do. I carried on. I did some of that tidying up, and just spent time mainly in the camp, with the exceptions of walking the dog. Where does that leave us? Tuesday. That was an interesting day. So in the morning I checked the weather, and I saw that I think it was 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the afternoon stroke evening, they were predicting thunderstorms. Thunder and lightning and rain. But down in the section where they tell you how much rain, they were predicting 0 millimeters for the entire day. And I didn't know how that worked. Have you ever been in a thunderstorm with it raining and there'd be 0 millimeters? Didn't seem right. So I kind of did a small, that wasn't so much a rant, but I did a small video, a little clip just saying, hey, this is, I know these apps are at the mercy of the data they're given, but that just seemed broken to me. To say, hey, you're going to have 2 thunderstorms and it's going to rain, but there won't be any rain. That's just bonkers. So that was the start of the day. I did that little video and spent a little time editing and uploading that kind of on the fly. We then had a fairly sunny, calm kind of morning and early afternoon, and then we had some distant rumbles of thunder. So I'm just scratching my leg. I've got mosquitoes all around me at the minute. Distant rumbles of thunder, and the sky turned black in the distance, and I did a couple of quick shoots of dark cloud in the distance, and then overhead, and we had the fairly standard thing here of dark cloud either overhead or just to one side, and clear skies at the other. And yeah, it was quite stunning looking at times. I had to calm the dog down, like now. Tina, be quiet. Tina, leave the people alone. Tina, leave the people alone. Shush! Tina, girl! Dog. Like that, except when it's thunder and lightning, she wants to hide. Tina. So, yeah, and then those predicted, at the times predicted, we kind of had a little bit of something and nothing well, the first one we had something and nothing. The 4 o'clock kind of session. I think it actually happened earlier, maybe 2 in the afternoon. It actually rained, and we went in, and then later came out. And the times of the predicted thunderstorms kind of came and went. And I checked the weather app again, and nothing. No thunderstorms predicted. And within an hour, or maybe two, we had a thunderstorm. And I thought, like, what the hell? I looked at the app again, and suddenly they've created, out of nowhere, they've updated it and added 4 hours of thunderstorms between 8 o'clock and midnight. And that got me angry. So I thought it was an epic rant, cursing them out and saying that's not how forecasting works. You don't get to look out of the window, see that it's thunder, lightning and raining now, and say, oh, maybe it'll carry on for 4 hours. You've had all day to predict it, and there was nothing 1 hour before it started. And then after it started, or an hour after it started, you're suddenly saying, oh yeah, this is going to go on for 4 hours. That's not forecasting. So I did a somewhat curse word laden rant. And that's in that day's video. And it also, I released a short, a cut down, a cut down version of it. Yeah. And it did nothing. That video was viewed 5 times in the first, 3 or 4 times in the first 24 hours. And so that takes us to Wednesday, which is the day after all the rain and everything. And we were fine through the rain. The new tent, it's brilliant. I mean, there was no worries at all on my part. Tina tried to hide from it, and she finds a little nook and a cranny and gets in there, and that leads us into one of the later videos. I'll come back to Tina's nook and cranny and hiding and the upshots. But so the next day, the day after the day after the thunder and lightning, Wednesday, because the video, I spent the morning, I think, or part of the morning editing the video and uploading, but because it did so poorly, I spent time re-editing. Tina, shush, quiet. I spent time re-editing and tweaking settings and changing the titles and things on the video to try and stimulate a bit of interest from the Google Shorts viewers, but nothing. I had another go later in the week, today I think, in fact, or last night, I'm not sure which. I've had a go at tweaking a few titles and the picture, the whatever the snapshot's called on the front of videos. So that, I think that was Wednesday mainly in the camp, and tweaking videos and being a little annoyed at how poorly they were performing. A little bit depressing. Swings and roundabouts, I guess. Slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and all that. Yeah. So Thursday was a bit of an epic day. Give me a second. I'm just going to read my notes and refresh my memory, because there was so much. Back in a second. Okay, folks, I'm back. So my notes for this are so extensive that I might need to break off again and refresh my memory halfway through. So the day, Thursday, starts with Tina hovering above my face while I'm basically asleep still. And she's licking my face and puffing and panting and basically slobbering all over me. And she wakes me up, and it's early. I don't, like 10 past 8 or something, or maybe even 10 to 8. I don't quite remember. And I look at the clock and the temperature gauge, and it's hot. I don't remember exactly how much. You'd have to watch the video. but somewhere around 30, either on its way to 30 or just over 30 Celsius, centigrade, whatever you want to call it. And she's uncomfortable with the heat, puffing and panting, and we've got to get out of the tent. So we come out, and I take her for a walk, and we film a nice tranquil bit of a view of the coastline and the sea. And I think I videoed it in two directions. I did a landscape and then a portrait in case I wanted to do a short. And we came back to camp. I had a clean. I mentioned last week that I'd been given a gas barbecue and a couple of gas bottles. The bigger gas bottles, 15 kilo. Tina, hold on. Okay, folks, sorry about that. Tina was just barking ridiculously at a lady, pretty lady that was walking past. I think she gets jealous. The prettier the ladies, the more she barks. I don't know. So I was just saying that the Damien knew a guy that was getting rid of a gas barbecue last week, and he had a couple of bottles, gas bottles. They're not empty, but they're getting that way. They're probably below a quarter full. Maybe much below that. So difficult to judge. But it needed a clean, so I gave that a clean Thursday morning as well. And one thing, while I was in the tent, I said that when we had the thunder and lightning on Tuesday, Tina found a corner of the tent to jam herself into. Well, she was right next to the ginger wine brewing that has been ongoing for, I'm not sure how long now. Is it 10 days, 2 weeks? I'm not sure. But those, if you've seen those videos, I leave the tops on the bottles, but loose, so you can't just lift them off, but they're not on tight. They rattle, and that's to allow any carbon dioxide in there. You don't want the pressure to build up. You want that to come out of the bottle. Well, because Tina was going in and out and in this corner and was reacting with the thunder and lightning, I had to tighten the lids on those bottles in case they got knocked over. I don't want 16 litres of ginger wine spilling on the floor of the tent, soaking the mattresses and the bedding, or soaking the dog. So I had to tighten those, and I forgot to untighten them. And on Thursday, so that was Tuesday night. Thursday, I noticed, I suddenly remembered that they were fastened, that they were tight, and the bottles were rock hard. There was no pressing them in. They were fully pressurized with carbon dioxide. So I grabbed the camera and filmed myself opening the bottles, and the hiss that you get when the gas comes out, and then the fizz of the as the gas carries on coming out of the liquid, because you don't want the gas in the liquid. It inhibits the alcohol production, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You don't want to kill the yeast too soon. So then I had to shake the bottles, make them fizzy, and try and get as much of that gas out as I could. And I've carried on doing that for a couple of days afterwards. So after we did that, so that's the barbecue cleaned off and the ginger wine. Then it was off to the park. We had an afternoon in the park. It was a good afternoon. I mean, there isn't really much to tell. I did a few shots of in the park and walking up the park, and whenever we had to move the picnic blanket as the sun comes round. As the sun moves round, I'll sit in the sun for maybe an hour as it comes around, but then it gets too much, and you got to get the shade again. So move the blanket back under the tree, under the shade some more. And we had the afternoon there, and then we came back to base. Back to base. Then what happened? Let me go back to my notes. Back again. There's no getting rid of me. Okay, so Thursday we get back to the camp, and it's say 6 o'clock or thereabouts, and we've got time to kill till the sun goes down at 9:30, 9:45, whatever time it is nowadays that it gets dark. So while I'm in the tent, I spot the light that Damien bought last week, and that I filmed the weekly review in last week. And it's a light and it's a fan. And that's when I had the idea for a kind of a comedic video, a comedy video. I filmed my OnlyFans video. So I had my top off anyway. It was hot down here, and I started outside, and I pointed the camera at the mirror, and so there's a picture of me, a shot for the ladies there, me shirtless, stood in front of the mirror. It's not an impressive sight, but it had to be done as part of the comedic routine. So there I am in front of a mirror, talking about doing an OnlyFans video. And then I walk into the tent and into the bedroom, and it's all intimate. And then I grab the light stroke fan and start telling everyone how it's the only fan that I have, and it's the only fan that I need. And I thought it was a funny little prank, a funny little jest. And the first version took too long. Tina, be quiet for me, please. Quiet, darling. The first one took too long. When you do a short, you can only film. It has to be under 1 minute. And this one was like 1 minute and 30 odd seconds. So I had to do a take 2. So I came out and cut out kind of section. I reshot it, but didn't prattle on too much about the features of the fan and the clock light. And that one came out, I think, 57 seconds. So that was spot on. I mean, that was perfect. I uploaded it. Nothing. Less than 10 views in the first 24 hours, I think. And I thought it was hilarious. But what I did notice was I couldn't select the thumbnail for the video. That's the word I was looking for before. The thumbnail, the picture that you see before you click on the video. I couldn't select it. Once I'd uploaded the video, that was it, and you couldn't edit it and swap it for another picture. And YouTube, Google, they'd auto-selected a shot that, well, it was a shot of the fan of the. It gave away the punchline of the gag, of the joke. So that ruined that. So I had to go at re-uploading. I read somewhere that when you're uploading it, you can select. There's a slider, and you can slide through the video, and wherever you leave it, that's the thumbnail you're going to get. So I had a second go, and found that feature this time, and managed to upload it and force it to be of me in the mirror, shirtless. And uploaded that, and I thought, this time it'll work. Performed even worse than the first one. And then out of nowhere, the first video suddenly got 60 or 70 hits. It was viewed 60 or 70 times. So then I thought, well, I've got the second one here now. I've uploaded it twice. Let's wait and see. And nothing happened, so then I tweaked it and changed the setting or some wording or something, and that one started to take off. And they've only had just over 100 odd views each, but it's better than nothing. It's as an experiment, as a learning curve. I've now know more what I'm doing, and I've uploaded a few shorts. So that was a fun bit of time on Thursday, and then I decided to give in on the solar oven project. You remember I got a polystyrene cooler box that you put your cold beers in or whatever. We're going to picnic cold food and what have you. And I cut the front off and put glass. I put a glass panel on the front of the cooler box and lined it with tin foil. And I thought that should have been able to cook some potatoes, like similar to how I cooked the pizza in the sun a couple of weeks ago. But it didn't work. It didn't get hot enough, and it got steamed up, which fogged the glass and prevented it getting even hotter. So I gave up on that, and I had had some potatoes in there for 3 or 4 days trying to get them to cook. So I gave up and threw them in the gas grill, the gas barbecue, for an hour or so. And I had three jacket potatoes that night, and left the rest to finish overnight, which was good. But while that was cooking and I went into the tent, I got attacked by a bunch of mosquitoes. I'd left the I'd left the tent open too much and for too long. Normally I'll leave a door open and do a citronella spray and force them out. Got to go and see the dog, she's destroying the camp. Sorry about that, guys. Got my dog tied to kind of a log that's freestanding, movable, portable. So she's got freedom, but she can't run away too quickly. But it does mean that if she tries to, she can drag this weight behind her, and mayhem ensues. So where was I? Thursday night, mosquitoes in the tent. Yeah, they got in, and then they ate the side of my leg while I was editing a video or doing something, while I was waiting for the potatoes to cook. Yeah. So then I had to get them out. So then I had to do the citronella spray around the inside of the tent, while the door was partially open enough that the mosquitoes that wanted to leave could leave, but hopefully not open enough that any more would come in. And it kind of worked. I didn't get them all out. We had one buzzing around overnight, but there's only so many times that one mosquito can eat you. Once it's had its fill, it just stays away for a while. Anything else Thursday? Let me check my notes. I think I'm nearly done with Thursday. Hopefully. Don't want to go on too long. Okay, quick read of the notes and I'm up to speed. So the only other thing Thursday was, after I'd finished cooking the potatoes, instead of going inside and just eating them, I spent about 10 minutes prattling on about how I'm struggling for kind of disk space on the phone, having to delete files all the time, and also how I'm struggling for bandwidth, for gigabytes data for uploading, because these videos, they can end up quite large. I have options well, they are large when they're first made, and I string them together and you end up with this 3, 4, 5 gigabyte file. And then I get some sliders when I decide on how to save and render the final video. So I get some options for quality and size of the picture and frame rate, how many pictures per second. And I'm having to go down lower than YouTube likes, and lower than I'm kind of happy with, really, just to get the file size down so that I can upload 300 megabytes or 500 megabytes, or if it's like nearly an hour long, I don't mind uploading a gigabyte. The problem is I only have like a gigabyte a day, roughly, a little bit more. But I like to have some data for myself. I like watching YouTube videos. I like downloading podcasts and similar. I've already found reduced quality settings that allow me to go beyond what YouTube normally offer to people. I'm downloading files at roughly a third of the lowest setting. When you're watching this video and you hit that cog and you look for the quality that you're downloading, 144p is the lowest quality you can go. But I use an app that gives me an option called 3GP, and the files are down roughly a third of the size of that 144p. which I'm kind of having to do to reduce my data usage and to stay within my limits. Now, I'm recording this, whatever time this is, on a Sunday evening. What is it? 8 o'clock? I don't know. I haven't looked. Um, excuse me. Whether I use my data or not, it expires at midnight tonight. I've got just over a gigabyte, the last I checked, of data left. If I don't use it, it rolls over as long as I renew quickly enough. If I had if I had money in my account, I could auto renew over the internet, and you know, that would be automatic. But as it is, I have to go to the shop and sort that out tomorrow. Pay cash. But what I said in the video on Thursday night was that there's an option. I'm currently, the last few months I've paid €10 and got, technically it's 20 gigabytes of data, but they're doing an offer that doubles it to 40. But if you paid €15, you get 40 and they double it to 80. And that would allow me, obviously, twice as much data. I could utilize maybe 3 times as much as I do at the minute on the YouTube videos, and still have enough left over for my personal needs, you know, for my personal usage. So this is what I spent kind of 10 minutes prattling on about while my food was going. Well, it didn't go cold, but while my potatoes were going, while they were going warm instead of hot. Tina, stop. Tina, I've got to shoot this dog. Hold on. I'm back. I just had to shoot the dog, put her down. There's no way I'm going to be able to edit these interruptions out, is there? I'll have to just leave them in and talk around them. Dogs. Okay, where was I? Okay, data allowances and buying a bigger package, a bigger data package, and other assorted conversations that happened Thursday night. The other thing I talked about then, and which I said then that I would come back to and talk about today. I don't know whether to do that now during the Thursday night roundup or whether to have it as a separate thing at the end. I guess I'll do it now. So a few people have said that I should get a PayPal account, so that they or other people could send me donations electronically. And also, I think 2 people have mentioned Amazon wish lists, where you make a list of things that you want from Amazon. And a lot of people use them just like to remind themselves, as a thing for themselves. But you can also make them public and let other people buy the things for you and have them delivered straight to you. And I was kind of mulling over, since people mentioned it, maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, these things were both mentioned, I think, on the same day initially. I don't think it was the same person. But I've been mulling them over and thinking about them, and whether it makes me a beggar or an e-beggar. And I'm torn. I've made that clear on Thursday and maybe once or twice in other videos. On the one hand, I'm a tramp living in a field. I'm living off charity to some degree. I mean, I was getting by without, but, well, getting by, I was going under. My shelter was falling apart, and I was, a few changes locally meant that I was struggling a little bit on some other aspects. So people do bring me food. If people give me money, I used to turn down money. There's a few times where people offered me 10 or 20 euros, and I said that's not necessary. And what I found was, A, it shocked them. B, it offended them. And C, it kind of left them surprised. It left them thinking that they'd misjudged the situation. That maybe they thought that some guy who was just badly dressed or badly, badly groomed, maybe they'd mistaken someone for a beggar, a tramp, a homeless guy when he wasn't. So turning them down left them flustered and embarrassed and on one occasion angry. Um, there was another occasion when someone offered me some bedding, and I'd already got more than enough. They just assumed that I was going to be cold in winter, and I got more than enough. And he turned up with these pink sheets, and I just no, I just had no use for them. I already had too much. I was actually at that point setting aside a second lot of bedding. My idea was to put them in a second camp in case I ever, hidden away, in case anything happened and I had to relocate urgently or in an emergency. So when I was offered this stuff and it just didn't look suitable and it was pink and I already had enough, I turned him down, and that I could see the look on his face. It's like his stuff wasn't even good enough for the local tramp. So now I shy away from turning people down, especially with money or food. Yeah. So if I'm already living on charity and donations, I don't know. Is it pride? Is that my problem? There's a dissonance. I'm torn by two thoughts at the same time. That it's wrong to be a beggar, but that if someone's offering help, it's rude to turn it down. I, I don't know. I don't know. What would you do? What should I do? I don't know. Anyway, so that's where we were Thursday night, which takes us nicely into Friday, Friday. Yeah, that was a day. That was a day. Started off quiet enough. Again, woke up in the tent sweltering. This time Tina didn't wake me up. I woke up myself absolutely wet through. A little bit later than the day before, and it was a little bit hotter in the tent, and I was dripping wet when I woke up. Part of the problem is I sleep on top of the bed in no covers until about 4 in the morning, and then I just get that wrong side of comfortable and put one blanket over. I'm lying on top of quilts and blankets and all sorts there, waterproof sheets in case things go wrong and what have you. As waterproof as in like the picnic blanket, not waterproof as in case you wet the bed. But I crawl under this one blanket somewhere around 4 in the morning when it gets a little bit cooler. But then of course I'm asleep, and by 6:30, 8 when it's getting warm, and by warm I'm talking 30 degrees, and I'm under a blanket. Yeah. So anyway, I woke up. We came outside. I took Tina for her walk, and we went and I filmed another clip of the seashore, and came back to camp. I think we just had a quiet morning, just mulling around, nothing specific, just passing time. Oh, eating the potatoes from the night before, the ones that had been left on the barbecue overnight. Perfect. If you saw that video, some of the potatoes end up with a little bit dark on the outer skin, but that's part of baked potatoes, or jacket potatoes as I call them. That's just part of the charm of them, the different textures and the different flavours at different levels of burnt. Um, but no, so I had this big bundle of potatoes, and so just in the morning I just grabbed them and eating them like apples. But they're very moreish, especially if you're a little bit hungry. So me and the dog ate most of them. But then we went to the park again and took a pack of biscuits and the potatoes that were left and some drinks and whatever else. And up to the park. Lovely afternoon in the park. Um, and we came back here. And I again we spent the evening doing something and nothing. But then I decided to cook a sweet and sour sauce. And I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it, whether I was going to go with rice, which was what I would usually have with sweet and sour sauce. Don't have noodles around, so that's not an option. Rice would be my go-to, but I thought maybe I might do jacket potatoes again, another batch. Um, but as I got the ingredients out and started to kind of prep a few things, chop the onions and the ginger and garlic, well, peel the garlic. God, that takes so long. Tina, Tina, be quiet. Tina, be quiet. Tina, no. Tina, no. Be quiet, darling. Back on the bed. Get back on the bed. What she's doing, she's toned. Okay, where was I? So yeah, peeling the garlic. Oh, okay, but I was literally in the middle of prepping the ingredients, and a car pulls up on the little road here, the little track, pips its horn, and the guy gets out. His family are in the car, but he gets out and he's waving a carrier bag of, food. And I did that as a separate video. Um, so you can go see that. But basically, there were um, two baguettes, a sliced white loaf. No, it was sliced loaf. I don't know what colour yet. Still haven't eaten it. And then there was a bag of bready, cakey. I think it might have been homemade actually, but I wasn't quite sure what they were to look at. But they were lovely when I ate them. Kind of a cakey, but not too sweet. Yeah, sort of thing that you might have maybe just with your coffee, or maybe you dip in your coffee. I don't know, or in a hot chocolate. Um, yeah. So he turns up with this food, and so now I'm about to. I've got a table full of ingredients out, and he turns up with food, and I've got a barbecue stood there, and I don't know. It just felt a bit wrong, but I'm not going to turn him down. And bread was something I was low. I didn't have anyway. So yeah. So suddenly I had. Oh no, I did have bread. I did have bread. I had 12 rolls from 2 nights earlier that I'd not got to yet. That's right. Um, but anyway, I accepted because I'm not going to turn him down in front of his family and like your food's not good enough for a tramp. That would feel wrong. So I thanked them all very much and asked them what country they're from. Lithuania. Um, does it seem wrong that I've got Lithuanians helping me, given the state that their country's in? Yeah, I just feel wrong. But I don't know, what can you do? They brought it here with no knowledge of what country I was from or anything about me. They've just seen me as they've driven past and just gone and got food. I guess the next time they were shopping, and then brought it to me. Uh, Maybe a lesson for their kid. Be good to people. I don't know, but so I accepted, and obviously I'm very very grateful for any help I get from anybody. I do just have these pangs, these worries. You know, should I be taking this? Do I need it? Is it wrong to be accepting it if I've just about got enough food to get by anyway? I don't know. I worry about these things. Drink of wine. So they leave, and then I, it was after they left that I sit down and go through the bag and see everything that's there. It's tremendous. You add it all up, and then there's 15 or 20 euros worth of food in the bag. It's incredible. It is incredible, people's generosity. To a guy they've not even spoken to, they've not even waved to or said hello to in the past. They've driven past on the top road, presumably, and seen me. And I got a little bit teary, a little bit welled up, a little bit emotional, which isn't like me. Which is when I then made the joke that might get me in trouble about maybe it's because it's Pride Month. Maybe I'm becoming a little bit. Let's move on before I get myself in more trouble. So yeah, then I did the cookery video. I did the cookery video. Sweet and sour sauce. And because I've got so much bread, the bread they brought plus the bread I already had I think it's a pack of 11, which is an odd number. It's literally an odd number. It's a strange number. 11 bread rolls. So I decided to toast. I think I did 4. Cut them in half and toasted those on the grill, on the barbecue, and have them as kind of dip, kind of croutony, kind of So that was Friday. Saturday. Yesterday, as some of us call it. I've got no idea what happened. Let me check my notes. Okay, folks, I'm back. I'm getting old. I'll tell you in a second. You probably heard a plink during the audio of that last clip. That was the phone telling me that it's running short on disk space again. These clips in this that are going to make up this video that you're now watching, there's over 3 gigabytes of data there, and I also need space for the for the rest of the clips that I'm going to do from here on, assuming that there are more than one. But also it's going to need working space to do while it's working, while it combines them and creates a large file and then saves them as a smaller file. So I've just had to delete most of this week's videos, most of the clips that went into making this week's videos, some of which I wanted to keep to make shorter, to release excerpts from the video. Now I can go back to the final video and take out excerpts from there, so they're not totally lost, but it's becoming more of a battle to maintain space. So each day, let's say I use 5 gig of disk space and it gets full, and I create a video, I empty a little bit of space, create a new video that says 1 gigabyte in size at the end, and then we're back the next day with a new 5 gigs of clips and delete some of the previous days worth, and each day we're adding 1 or 2 gigabytes of final video, and there's less and less working room to record the clips that go into making the video. I'm struggling. I don't know what the answer is. I know that with the previous phone I had an on-the-go, there's a cable called an on-the-go cable. You plug it into your USB slot, micro USB slot, and then you can attach external hard drives and things, which I do own, but they're at an ex-friend's house for safekeeping. And I'm not sure the cables that I've got work anymore, because nothing I've got works with them. The other option would be a bigger SD card. Are they still called SD cards? I think they are. I've got an old one in here that I took out of an old tablet that got killed in the floods. The only thing that's left working, I think, is the SD card. But that's all. The SD card's full, but it's by modern standards, I think it would be considered small. I'm not sure if it's 64 gigabytes or 128, but it's full as anyway. But maybe a larger SD card. I don't know how big they come. I haven't looked. Have I looked? I think I saw 512 gigabytes as an option. That would be room to work, but it's probably outside my budget at the minute. I'm not sure what I've got. I'm not sure what my budget is. Well, it's zero basically. I've got maybe 60 euros to my name. And most of that's because of one of you guys who came to visit me. So thanks for that. Okay, where were we? I was trying to remember Saturday, or yesterday as we call it. It's a technical term. Yeah, the reason I couldn't really remember what I'd done is because I didn't really do anything. The day, other than the dog walk in the morning, the day was spent, morning was spent in camp. I tried to stay here all day, but I got too hot, I couldn't stay. So we literally decamped to the park. Flies. So we went to the park yesterday, and I didn't do a video on it because I've already done 2 or 3 videos of going to the park, and there's not. I'm going there so I can sit under a tree in the shade. There's not a lot to add beyond that. There's only so many times you can show people that you've moved your picnic blanket and that you've brought a bottle of water and some coffee and some cola and a pack of biscuits or whatever. I mean, there's. So unless I start like recording these type of prattling on videos while I'm in the park, I don't really see much value in recording everything like that. So that was Saturday. We went to the park. We came back here. I plated up a bowl of the sweet and sour sauce from the leftover from the Friday night, and we had our tea or supper, whatever you want to call it. And then probably fairly early, really, we went into the tent and into the bedroom. We went to bed. And I just played YouTube videos and messed about. Probably tried tweaking some settings on some videos that aren't working very well on YouTube. To be honest, because I spent a couple of days not uploading videos, the channel kind of died. They kind of punish you if you don't upload every day. They don't promote your videos when you do upload. So I was reaching 2, 3, maybe 400 views on some of my videos. And now I upload a video and it's getting 5 or 10. Yeah, there's only so much effort it's worth putting in if you're only going to get 10 views. So speaking of which, I haven't covered what I've done today yet. That's Saturday covered. But while we're here, let me just say, do us a favour. Hit the thumbs up button, the like button. If you liked it, I'm not telling you to, but please consider hitting the like button. It would be doing me a favour. It would give a little signal to Google that people have been here, people have watched it, and that they've enjoyed it, they've liked it. Maybe give them a nudge to promote the next video a bit more widespread. Consider subscribing if you think you might want to stay up to date with a tramp and his adventures and his doggy, who hasn't appeared on this video, which is unusual. You've heard her in the background and she's interrupted the video, but you've not seen her because the camera's facing this way. and I can't. If I turn it that way, I've got no way of controlling what you see. I did a video this far away from a clock, and I pointed literally. There was no way it was missing, but when I viewed the video back, it missed. It didn't show the clock. You got to laugh. If you didn't laugh, you'd cry. Yeah. So please consider subscribing, and if you could comment some of the questions. Would you help with a PayPal donation? Would you do the Amazon wish list thing and buy something off a list if I put one out there? Nothing too extravagant, I'm talking about kind of stuff for basic survival, basic necessities. Just the things I need, or that might be useful. Have you got ideas of things that I might find useful that I could add to a wish list? Me and the dog are both scratching at the minute. The Mozzies are out and so are the other flies. So anything like that, comment away. Just comment and say, hey, I was here, I saw it. Again, it's a signal to Google. It gives them that little hint that people are here and interacting. People are here and they care. If you do care, maybe you don't. Fuck off. I'll survive either way, probably. Unless you read in the news one day that I didn't. But I think I will. I got through to New Year without even having a cover over my head, without having a tent or a shelter. Cuddled the dog, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, cuddling the dog while all the fireworks went off, because she just bricks herself with fireworks. And thunder and lightning. Anytime there's a storm, anytime there's fireworks, I literally have to cuddle her all night. And she just sits and pants and frightened to death. My little darling. Where was I? Don't know. Comments, wish lists, PayPal. What are your thoughts? Do you want to subscribe? Do you want to see my next video? Let Google tell you when I upload again. So far, 32 of you have clicked that. Christ knows why. In all honesty, what are you doing? You want to know what this Tramp does next? What's wrong with you? Get a life. I'm kidding. Okay, that brings us to today, Sunday. What have I done? In camp all day. The day started cloudy. I was worried. My phone, yesterday I got the phone up to 80% charge and fell asleep fairly early in the night. Excuse me. Fell asleep fairly early. So I woke up this morning about 4 o'clock, still with maybe 50% on the phone, which I kind of burnt through 15 or 20% of it just watching things over the next 3 or 4 hours. But then I thought, I'm down to 40, 35, wherever I was, I don't know. And I'm thinking, but the forecast was for it to be dull all day. Literally no sunshine until 7 o'clock at night was what the app that I ranted about was telling me. So I was thinking, well, I might have to make this power last, until Monday. So I was a little concerned, and I switched, while I was inside, I switched to just doing things audio, so the screen wasn't on. I came outside and it was cloudy in the morning, but hot. Stupid hot, considering how cloudy it was. But then the sun broke through a bit at times. I'm going to have to drink some wine. Sorry, cheers. Long story short, the sun broke through and I got the phone back up to 80%. But then I was using it in the sunlight, and when the screen's on full blast, it'll burn through 10% in under an hour. So I ended up back down around 60, but the sun was still shining, and I got it back up. I got it back up above 70, which is enough. Except I've just spent however long this has been. Is this an hour, hour and a half? I don't know. Talking to you chaps and chapesses, which I enjoy. Now, what I'm going to do next week, and I am going to do this. I think I've said this before and not done it. I'm going to do one of those community posts asking for questions. What do you want to ask me? I don't want to go too in depth because I want to save most of it for the first time I get to do a live broadcast with people. But you've probably got questions. You probably want to know more about me and how I ended up here and what have you. So we'll have a mini, we'll do that. So maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll post that. And if we get enough questions, I'll do it as a separate video answering those. If we only get a few, if we only get a couple, I'll build that into the weekly catch-up build it into the weekly catch-up next Sunday, if I do it on Sunday. Okay, guys. I think that's about it, isn't it? I spent most of the day charging the phone, laying around too hot, and then trying to prepare some notes for this, because it turns out that I didn't make notes through the week, even though I thought I was going to. After I make each video and upload it, I then kind of switch off and go to sleep, rather than writing some notes about what the video was about. I need to get more organised, or get a helper. I get Tina on the job. She can write the notes. She's about to destroy part of the camp. I'll probably better go. Okay, guys, that was the week that was, and those are the ideas and plans for the coming week. Those questions and answer kind of session. I'll try and do some more videos and updates as we go, but I haven't got too many ideas for other things, unless anything clever happens, anything out of the ordinary, or unless I hit upon an ace cookery idea. The cookery videos aren't doing too bad, which is surprising considering how cack-handed I am, doing things with my left hand while holding the camera with the right hand, and how many times I have to just put the phone down and turn the video off, turn the camera off, so that I can do what I'm doing. They're all a bit of a mess, and the editing's, well, there is no real editing. I'm just joining clips together. I get to trim bits from the beginning or the end. There are other things I can do, little overlays with text where I say things wrong. Sometimes I misspeak. I have, like the classic one was it yesterday, day before yesterday, when I was doing the cookery video. I did the ingredients and I chopped some onions, I prepared some ginger, and then there was the garlic next to it. And as I said about chopping the onions and I moved on to the ginger, I said garlic because that was next in the list. So I had to do a text overlay on screen calling myself a fool and correcting myself. It's pretty much what goes on in my head while I was watching it. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. See you during the week. For now, Delta Mike out.